Hi, everybody. It is Thursday, August 19th. Week is almost over, weekend almost upon us. Still overcast today here. It's been really pleasant here in LA after so much of a heat wave's been pounding us to have the temperature drop like this. It's still warm, but I'm looking outside and it's nice like this. I did a lot of yard work yesterday and it was nice instead of being out there soaking wet in the heat. So I was thinking about today's music, and I thought after having spent yesterday visiting with the work I did with Julio Iglesias, I thought, well, today I'll go play with his son. I'm going to do some stuff off of an album that I did with Enrique Iglesias. And there's a lot of information on this one. We did this album in 1997, and I think it's Volvere is the title, Vivir, and it was an interesting project to me for the fact that all of the playing on this was done separately. When I went in, I was doing bass parts on it, and I had been notified in advance that the producer arranger on this, Rafael Perez Botilla, was a real stickler for all of his arrangements, and he had done all the pre-production and all of this on it to prepare this album. And when I got in the studio, I had a lot of songs to do, and when he pulled out the charts, I knew I was in for trouble on this because when he did the synth bass parts, the temp parts that the charts were printed off of, I mean, this is the world of computers now, as compared to a copyist who can just sit and write everything out. It's all, most of the time it's being done through programs, apps and things. When he did the bass pre-production, he wanted it to sound, really cool. So he had like some echo and delay on the bass parts, and he was playing the synth, and he would like do some stuff with a wheel on it just to make it bend, sound a little fretlessy and all that. Well, what happened is then the charts are printed. The computer, like when you've got the wheel, there's a little wheel on a, if you don't know, on a synthesizer, you can have a little wheel that bends the pitch. The computer would pick up the bottom end of that wheel, and so that note would be wrong. It might end up right, but it would not be the note you're actually supposed to be starting with. And having a pulse wave and effects going through it suddenly turned, if you had just a thing that was like a dung, it was going, as the way it was written out, was all like 16th notes going. It was just solid black piece of paper. I was going to have to do so much forensic work on these charts, and we didn't have a ton of time. There are other players scheduled like the next day or two. So I did the first tune and ended up having to rewrite the whole chart to it because to get rid of all this. And I explained to him, I said, this is the problem we've got here with this. But was one of these guys who really had the parts he wanted set in his mind. So we got through the first tune, and I finally looked at him afterwards, and I said, could I just one time, just give me one pass on this and let me try just kind of doing it the way I hear it. And so he said, okay. And we did that tune over again, and I used the essence of his idea, but made it sort of my own. And I breathed a sigh of relief because he said, "Oh no, that's great. Let's just do all the songs this way." And suddenly it got to be really easy. I would listen to his ideas and then sketch out my own chart to it and use the essence of what he wanted to do, but made it more of my own on it. And suddenly I wasn't having to like slog through these really messed up charts that were really going to make for a very long process trying to suss all this stuff out. So it was great working with him, and Steve Sykes was the engineer on the project, and it was mixed by Chris Lord-Alge and mastered by Doug Sachs at Mastering Labs. And there's a bunch of information about Enrique that was amazing. So I thought rather than just going through my copious notes, I just pulled it up on Wikipedia, and I thought I would just read this off to you, where it says he really began with in the mid '90s with a Mexican label called Fonavisa, and it became the best-selling Spanish language act of the decade. And said by the turn of the millennium, he had made a successful crossover into the mainstream English language market. He signed a multi-album deal with Universal Music Group for $68 million, and to release Spanish albums, and Interscope Records to release English albums. And then in 2010, he parted with Interscope and signed with another Universal Group label, Republic Records, to release bilingual albums. In 2015, he parted ways with Universal Music Group after being there for over a decade, and he signed with Sony Music, and his subsequent albums were released by Sony Music Latin in Spanish and RCA Records in English. He is one of the best-selling Latin music artists with estimated sales of over 70 million albums worldwide. He has had 5 Billboard Hot 100, 5 top singles, including 2 number ones. As of October 2020, Iglesias holds the number 1 position on the greatest of all time Latin artist charts. He holds a record for the most number 1 songs on Billboard Hot Latin Songs chart with 27, and Latin Airplay chart with 31 songs, and the Latin Pop Airplay with 24 songs. He also has 14 number 1 Billboard dance charts, number 1s on the dance charts, more than any other male artist. And he's earned the honorific title King of Latin Pop. In December 2016, Billboard magazine named him the 14th most successful and top male dance club artist of all time. In October 2020, Iglesias was awarded the top Latin artist of all time by the 2020 Billboard Latin Music Awards. So, I mean, he's had a pretty amazing career, especially, following in the footsteps of his father. So it's pretty amazing. So I thought I'd just play a couple of the songs from the album that we did with him. And it's pretty much the same band on almost all the tracks on this. The first song I'm going to play is a song called Volvere, I believe, Volvere, with an accent grave on it. And the band on most of these tracks is myself, Greg Bissonette on drums, Mike Landau on guitar, Rafael Perez Botilla, the producer, arranger, doing keyboards. And on this one, Billy Preston's also playing organ on this, and Luis Conti is playing percussion. And the background singers are Carlos Murguia, Gisa Vatke, Kenny O'Brien, and Maria Del Rey. So here's Volvere. And this is just, after following Julio yesterday, it's kind of nice just to keep the lineage going here. So here we go.
Hoy me he dado cuenta por primera vez que solo hay una como tú, que solo hay una como tú. Y ya lo ves, que las cosas van cambiando. Ayer quería estar solo y hoy te necesito a mi lado. Hoy la lluvia entraba en mi ventana y tristemente repetía que todavía me querías. Y ya lo sé, que me marché sin despedirme, pero tu recuerdo me seguía por cada mar que yo cruzaba. Volveré porque yo te necesito. Volveré porque sin ti ya no respiro. Volveré porque sé que tú me esperas. Volveré porque volver es lo que quiero. Volveré porque ya no soy el mismo. Hoy me he mirado en el espejo y he visto tanto vacío y he visto tanta nostalgia. Y ya lo sé, que te dejé desencantada, pero esta herida que he causado sé que puede ser curada. Volveré porque yo te necesito. Volveré porque sin ti ya no respiro. Volveré porque sé que tú me esperas. Volveré porque volver es lo que quiero. Volveré porque ya no soy el mismo. Volveré porque yo te necesito. Volveré porque sin ti ya no respiro. Volveré porque sé que tú me esperas. Volveré porque volver es lo que quiero. Volveré porque ya no soy el mismo. Hoy me he dado cuenta por primera vez que solo hay una como tú, que solo hay una como tú.
Mike Landau is such a great guitar player. I mean, he's been a staple in the LA music scene for so many years, and we've done so many projects together. But he's one of those guys that always just brings something else to it. He's just like a really unique player. Comes up with ideas that are just, you just kind of sit back and you go, wow, this guy's really good. I think I did all my parts at Westlake Studios down on Santa Monica Boulevard, kind of just, for anybody who knows town, just west of La Brea. And I've done lots and lots of projects at those studios. And it was a lot of fun. You know, sometimes it's really fun when it's just you coming in to do your parts, because you'll do things that maybe you wouldn't have done otherwise, because you don't want to screw up a track for everybody else by, trying something a little left field. But if it's only you sitting there, then you go, oops, that's okay, let's try that again. And don't have the other players looking at you going, come on, but don't do that. Here's a song called Miente. And again, this is the same thing. It's myself, Greg Bissonette, Mike Landau, and Raphael on keyboards. on here. I'm just hearing these for the first time in a long, long time. So here we go. Almost painted black. Cool. Totally different than the other one. And there's really nice variety on this project. Let me see what I got up here. Here's a song called Al Despertar. And again, it's pretty much the same cast of incorrigibles, myself and Greg Bissonette and Mike Landau and Rafael Perez Botilla on keyboards and arrangement. So here we go with this one. Like I said, I'm hearing these for the first time in a very, very long time. So it's interesting for me to kind of seeing myself just sitting there at the console, you know, just music stand in front of me and sketching out charts and trying to suss these songs out. But a lot of stuff is done that way. You know, we're not always fortunate enough to have full band in the studio cutting at the same time. So you do what you get called for. And that's this. So here we go.
bésame como si fuera la primera vez. Abrázame y no me sueltes ni un momento, porque esta vez yo te juro que no miento. Atrévete, toma mi mano y en silencio, y déjate llevarte por los sentimientos. No, no. Y por la mañana al despertar, si miro a mi lado y tú no estás, es que ya es muy tarde para suplicar y no me merezco una segunda oportunidad.
Mike.
Mírame cuando te digo que te quiero, y bésame como si fuera la primera vez. Abrázame y no me sueltes ni un momento, porque esta vez yo te juro que no miento. Atrévete, toma mi mano y en silencio, y déjate llevarte por los sentimientos. No, no, no. Y por la mañana al despertar, si miro a mi lado y tú no estás, es que ya es muy tarde para suplicar y no me merezco y una segunda oportunidad. Y por la mañana al despertar, si miro a mi lado y tú no estás, es que ya es muy tarde para suplicar y no me merezco una segunda oportunidad.
I'll just grab one more here. What do we got? Not sure which one to go for, so I'm going to go to Vaccio. Let's see how that goes. Same band, me, Greg Bissonette, Mike Landau, and Raphael on keyboards. So here we go. Let's see what this one is like.
Todo lo que hago es por ti. Todo lo que tengo me lo has dado. Todas tus palabras son de amor. Mi único refugio son tus brazos. Todos mis deseos son de ti. Todo en mi presente y en mi pasado Todo lo que quiero es darte amor. Todo lo que sé es que te amo. Nada me hace ver más que tu luz. Nada me cautiva como tú. Nadie más me importa, nadie más. De repente me doy cuenta de que ya no estás y me estremece la agonía de no verte más. Y en el silencio de la noche se hace inmenso amor. Tu vacío de redero y te busco y no estás aquí, pero me niego a convencerme de que te perdí. Te necesito demasiado, no podré sufrir tu vacío. Todos mis recuerdos son de ti. Todo mi presente y mi pasado. Toda mi ilusión es verte reír y pasar las horas a tu lado. Nada me ha inspirado como tú. Nadie me dio tanto sin pedir. Nadie me ha querido, nadie más. Y de repente me doy cuenta de que ya no estás y me estremece la agonía de no verte más. En el silencio de la noche se hace inmenso amor. Tu vacío me revelo y te busco y no estás aquí, pero me niego a convencerme de que te perdí. Te necesito demasiado, no podré sufrir tu vacío. Te quisiera suplicar y no sé a dónde ir para acabar con este absurdo y traerte a mí. Y en el abismo de tu ausencia solo encuentro amor. Tu vacío. Yo no. Yo no.
I was just noticing on the video for this that Enrique and Ricky Martin and Sebastian Yatra are supposed to be touring in the fall of this year. We'll see what happens with that, but as soon as I saw Ricky Martin's name, because I got to work with Ricky on an album, and I had for a number of years I was doing the Latin Grammy Awards and the Latin Person of the Year Award, which precedes the Latin Grammy Awards, like the night before. And I think we did like Shakira one time. I forget all the different artists that we've done on that, but it was always a trip. Most usually did that in Las Vegas, so we would bring a bunch of players. I know Greg played drum, Bissonette played drums on it, and we had really a great band from Los Angeles that would go there and then worked with all these different artists. And it was really fun. It's just such another world on certain levels to work in that scene. So it's just interesting to me, to have Dad yesterday and the son today on here. Again, the immediate family is going to be premiering our album at the Grammy Museum this Thursday of next week, a week from tonight. I believe it is. Let me double check my calendar here, but I think it's that night. Come on, pull up here. What do we got here? Yeah, the 26th is next Thursday. There's still, I think, a few seats available, and I'm going to have an announcement to make on Monday about what's going to be happening. But it's it'd be really fun if anybody's in town that hasn't got a ticket yet to come down. We're gonna play the album and discuss the tracks and answer questions and just have a good give and take all evening. And then you can leave with a signed CD at the end of it. And it'll be I believe at 7 p.m., but I'll double check that. I'm sure when anybody's gotten their tickets, they've been informed as to the time frame on that. So that's kind of it for now. I have a bunch of more stuff to do today. I'm going to get on that. And again, just give a shout out to all of the frontline workers that are working so hard. I saw on the news last night that Garth Brooks has canceled about at least a week's worth of his shows just because of COVID. You know, his concern for the audience and their well-being, because the numbers are going up, and we're all still holding our, crossing our fingers for November when the immediate family starts to get to gig again, finally. So, boy, I'll tell you, these caregivers, though, are just working so hard every day. They're amazing, and I can't tell you enough how heroic you are all to me for what you've put up with now for, eventually it's going to be 2 years of this. Shocking, just shocking. I would love to see this end. So take good care, stay safe. If you haven't, you're going to do what you're going to do, but I mean, the only way this is ever going to come under control is through vaccination. And we've had vaccinations for so many years, for everything from, polio, diphtheria, smallpox, you name it. There's shingles, it's like countless amount of things. And this is no different. This is a global virulent situation, though, and the only way we're ever going to get rid of it is to get out there and get vaccinated from this. So just think about it and try to you'll do what you're going to do. I think it's the right thing to do myself. And I was like, couldn't wait to get in and get mine when they became available. So take good care. I will be back tomorrow. I don't think there's any more Iglesias children that I've worked with, so I think I'll move on to something completely different tomorrow. But it's just kind of nice to keep it in the family for a couple of days. So take good care. I will see you all tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.